Hey everybody, Phil/Polygon here. Been a while. Just popping up with a little announcement, update, pulse check, what's uppery style video. A couple of different things to let you guys know about. First, there is a new roundtable-ish style discussion up right now over on the Visionaries channel. This was kind of a side table or kids table style discussion just between the Visionary and I, where we were going off on this idea of main characters in games being completely overshadowed by peripheral characters, sidekicks, companions, just other dudes in the game, whoever they might be. But those situations where you're playing through something, following the main storyline, main character's kind of bland, and you're just wishing he was somebody else in the game. I wonder what Quiet is up to. I wonder what Alistair is up to. We were talking about Final Fantasy, we were talking about Dragon Age, we were talking about Metal Gear Solid, Castlevanias came up, some classic stuff too, Mario and Sonic and just sort of these iconic characters, Tomb Raider, all kinds of crazy crap that just naturally stems out of that style of discussion. As far as the bigger roundtable series, the usual suspects, the Visionary himself, Lady Canton, and I did sit down and record one where we were talking about Dark Souls 3. We were talking about initial reactions to the game, headspaces around the game, and due to some technical quirks and just general goofballery on our part, we weren't able to get that one out. We're trying to reschedule a follow-up discussion to that, so there is another one coming down the pike. I know those have been a little bit quiet, but there's more stuff coming. Lady Canton was not able to join us for this one, so we just did the kids table discussion. Speaking of Dark Souls 3, what's up with the channel, man? There has been no Dark Souls 3 content thus far. There's been no content of any kind. I mean, the channel has been pretty much crickets. Crickets and overgrown grass as nature reclaims the land. Not a whole lot going on over in this corner of the internet. The channel is not dead. I do want to keep it going. I have some plans for it. I'm thinking of it. It's not hibernating. It's almost in like this insectoid pupa stage. It's going through a metamorphosis, at least in my head. What's going to emerge? I don't know. Could be a butterfly. Could be a pizza. I have no idea what the fuck is going to come out of that cocoon. But regarding souls, I'm kind of soulsed out. Man, I'm kind of soulsed out. I've talked about this at great length over on the podcast side of things. I'll probably talk about the podcast a little bit at the end of this too, but it is back after, just like everything else, it took a 6-month hiatus to deal with some life business. But it's back and it's going pretty strong, and I'm being pretty diligent with it. Weekly episodes, talking all kinds of crazy stuff over there, just general purpose geekery. And in it, I have mentioned time and time again of just kind of being soulsed out. I don't really feel like I have anything to say. On the PvP side of things, you know, the focus of the channel has always been on keeping a positive attitude or challenging yourself or taking a look at various player types or meta community issues and stuff like that. And I feel like we're seeing a very similar resurgence of issues that we saw going from Dark Souls 1 to Dark Souls 2, and I don't have a lot of motivation, honestly, to rehash that going from Dark Souls 2 to Dark Souls 3. I think a lot of the stuff that has been discussed in the past with Dark Souls 1 and 2 is completely applicable to Dark Souls 3. You know, finding fun in a world of chest thumping and taking a look at overpowered weapons. You could replace, you know, Sun Sword, Warp Sword in Dark Souls 2, a Chaos Blade, with the Dark Sword and Estoc in Dark Souls 3, and I think it translates exactly the same. I'm not really feeling inspired to just talk through that stuff again with different weapons or different, same player types, all that kind of thing. So I don't know. It's kind of a bombshell. It's not even a bombshell. There is a bomb inside of that shell. It is a full-blown bomb, not just the shell. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of PvP stuff moving forward with Dark Souls 3. I definitely want to do some PvE stuff. The Purist's Guide for Dark Souls 1 that I finished up at the beginning of the year was a shit ton of fun to make. I'll probably do something similar for Dark Souls 2 and would love to do something with Dark Souls 3 as well. And then maybe go off in some other directions. Maybe talk about some stuff that isn't Souls. Other games. Maybe talk about some stuff that isn't even games. Movies, music, comics, books. Kind of go in a little bit more of a variety show direction, just like I'm doing over with the podcast. You know, I love the Souls franchise. That has not gone away. And I like Dark Souls 3 a lot. I'm playing it and having a great time. But I'm also playing a bunch of other stuff and having a great time, and watching a bunch of other stuff and having a great time. And I don't think I've got it in me to keep going with Souls exclusively. So I guess the options are kind of maybe whatever little caterpillar crawled into that pupa stage, wove himself a nice little cocoon around it. He's either going to die in there or he's going to emerge as something completely different. So I don't know. I mean, I can't thank you guys enough in terms of support for the channel and just, you know, the prods, the little nudges, sort of like, dude, when are you coming back? Would love to see some Dark Souls 3 stuff. That is awesome. I would love to do some Dark Souls 3 stuff, but I'd also like to do some other things. And I know this is probably going to alienate a lot of people because it's been a Souls channel for a long, long time. And a lot of people are dedicated to that and came to the channel for that. And I made some great friendships and relationships coming from that. I owe that to Souls, man. That's super fucking cool. You know, I feel like it's kind of a tough spot because I really don't want to leave anybody hanging, right? Anybody out there with bated breath waiting for Dark Souls 3 PvP content that I just mentioned is probably not coming or is going to come at a very, very slow drip. You know, I hate doing that because it's been a Souls channel. It's been, you know, kind of our thing, as cheesy as that sounds. I do feel like there's collective ownership of this channel in terms of all of the feedback that I've gotten and all the participation that I've gotten. I want to be respectful of the people that were coming to this channel for Souls, but at the same time, I don't know how much Souls I have left in me. And then just kind of, you know, evaluating those tough decisions about free time. Where are you going to cash in your free time credits? I think if we diversified from Souls, it could be a much more vibrant channel. It could be a much more active channel, much more regular channel, because it could just, you know, be any random pop culture shit. I mean, there's some concern in that too, because the internet is filled with random pop culture shit, most of which is in fact shit. Most of it sucks, but some of it doesn't. I'm decently confident I could run a non-sucky pop culture channel. I don't know. Just kind of thinking out loud. I wanted to air that just in terms of headspace because, as mentioned, crickets and overgrown grass. So, I mean, hit me up. Hit me up with any kind of feedback, comments, thoughts on that. You know, from a critical what's next standpoint, probably more than ever, feedback and comments and opinions are absolutely welcome. You know, would you bail without hesitation if suddenly this was a non-Souls channel? Would you stick around? What kind of stuff would you might like to see? If you could see anything that wasn't Souls, what would it be? Bloodborne, because it's not Souls. No, I don't know. Give me your thoughts and opinion on that, because I am kind of torn in terms of you know, as I'm baking in my little cocoon, my little caterpillar pupa, in terms of not wanting to leave behind what we have in terms of Souls, but also not wanting to move forward with that indefinitely into the future. I know there's a whole lot of channels going through a whole lot of diversification right now because the Souls franchise is, I'm not going to say it's getting long in the tooth, but Dark Souls 3, I will say, as much as I like it and I'm having fun with it, it feels like more of the same on both the PvP and the PvE side. I mean, we are all, a lot of us at least, are veterans in the franchise now, and there's only so much you can do with the Souls formula in terms of new topics of discussion. A lot of it is kind of evolutionary tweaks, not revolutionary tweaks, so I don't feel like there's a whole lot to talk about. In terms of possible topics of discussion, I'm going to do a little, just, you know, horrible, go take a shower afterwards, shameless self-promotion, and talk about the podcast. I do feel like I would love to apply the conversation spectrum of the podcast over here on the YouTube channel, where it's very similar style discussions as I was doing with Dark Souls 3, or Souls in general. Just PvP, you know, did you ever notice PvE, hey, what about this? Type things just applied to a larger swath of interest. You know, over on the podcast side, I did a 3-part crackpot theory speculation series on Star Wars: The Force Awakens, just covering some of the major characters over there. Star Wars is not everybody's bag of tricks. Tricks? No, bag of tea? Cup of tea? There we go. Not everybody likes Star Wars. That's what I'm trying to say. Just simply, without the metaphors, without the flourishes. Not everybody likes Star Wars. And that's kind of one of the perils of doing something that has a little bit more variety, right? Every now and then a topic will come up that people just don't care about. Some people just don't care about, but maybe they'll care about the next one. So on the next one, I did a little exploration of faux profanity in science fiction and fantasy. I was calling out series like Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. I was calling out the Powder Mage trilogy, which I was currently reading. And it's a common thing in science fiction and fantasy for, as part of the world building, authors or writers, whatever it might be, create their own swear words. So as you're reading through The Wheel of Time, and the characters get into a sticky situation, and they say things like blood and ashes, or light forsaken, and I was just kind of wondering, like, why don't they just say fuck it? Why don't they just say, oh shit? Why don't they use, like, our modern vernacular for profanity? Because they talk like this. They talk like us in every other aspect. And the next one after that, I did kind of a rambly exploration of trying to lock down the semantics of what retro gaming actually means to me. And after that, I did one on, I was talking about Pokemon Go and transition that into why I am not excited about virtual reality gaming or augmented reality gaming. So I don't know, man. I am pretty proud of the podcast. I feel like some of the stuff I'm doing over there, just the audio only stuff, probably because, you know, there's a lot less overhead to sit down and just start talking for 30 minutes versus trying to find footage and edit a video together. But I feel like they're some of the strongest commentaries that I've ever done. And they're very much like the Dark Souls PvP and PvE style commentaries that I was doing on the channel, right? Very highfalutin, fancy language, trying to sound so much smarter than I am. And just trying to take a look at some of the little nuances of things that isn't just, here's the best weapon, here's how to use it, here's how to farm large Titanite shards early or something like that. You know, I've never been much into the technical aspects of things. They've always been kind of higher level, soft topics. And I kind of feel like that style of commentary, that flavor of commentary translates really well to topics that aren't just Souls. So I don't know. Please let me know what you think. Feedback is always welcome. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me thumbs down if you're like, fuck you, man. Stick with Souls, stick with Souls. Don't be stingy with the dislikes. But just as a quick summary, new roundtable-ish thing, kids table, side table, over on the Visionaries channel. We were talking about main characters being overshadowed by badass companions. Always a great time to sit down and talk with him. Always a great time to talk with him and Lady Canton too as part of the roundtable series. And hopefully there's a new one of those coming soon. Whenever we can all sync schedules and sit down and talk about it, we'll probably rehash the Dark Souls 3 thing. So there'll be some coverage there. Or we might go in a completely new direction. You never know. Also, you know, again, shameless self-promotion. Check out the podcast. That is regular. If you're just dying for content, the podcast is going pretty well. Weekly episodes. So, you know, every Friday there's new stuff. Wide variety of topics. Maybe if you're kind of apprehensive about this proposed caterpillarization of the channel, emerging into a pizza. I don't know why a caterpillar would turn into a pizza, but that might be a cool mechanic. Anyways, maybe check out the podcast and listen to some of those and be like, oh my god, no, do not do this on the channel. And I'll find video footage or animate stuff behind it. So it will be a watching experience. It won't just be, you know, posted audio or something like that. I'll figure out something to do with it, but give me your feedback. It's in iTunes, it's in Google Play, it's in Stitcher, all the major podcast directories. You can also hit up the site too, just polygoingoff.com. Regular ass RSS. You're doing it the old-fashioned way. Thoughts? All of the above. Hit me up on here. Hit me up on Twitter. Hit me up via the site, on the podcast, whatever it is. And I'm just going to keep mulling, try and collect some of this stuff, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Not sure what that is going to be. Absolutely no idea what it's going to be. But I'm not ready to quit. So I'll catch you whenever that is, and just bring it to a close. Stop putting awkward pauses in my outro. Fucking annoying. Alright, cool. Thanks a ton, guys. See you soon. Bye.